Counterattack back on location again this week. We're here in Greensboro, North Carolina, second straight year of the ODP East Regional Tournament. We've also got ODP action in Kearns, Utah. It's all coming up next on a brand new Counterattack. Hi everyone, Mescall here. Thanks for joining us on the Counterattack. We're here at the Greensboro Aquatic Center, Greensboro, North Carolina, for the 2020 ODP East Regional Tournament. One of two regional tournaments going on in the land of ODP, the other in Kearns, Utah. Let's get you caught up on some of the great times athletes from across the country had this weekend in ODP. And we start right here in Greensboro. Some 520 athletes taking part in the event this year in North Carolina, and it was a busy weekend of water polo. Great moment mixing basketball and water polo. Greensboro Swarm right next door to the Greensboro Aquatic Center. Sergeant Swarm visited the pool as the action was underway. Many of the athletes went to watch the Swarm take on the Erie Bayhawks on Friday night. Then they were back in the pool on Saturday and Sunday for a bunch of water polo. We talked with a couple of athletes and local Carolina Water Polo Club coach Eric Gordon about the weekend and more.
A lot of our families are getting to come see water polo. I think the level of play is up, which means I think the kids that we have that are playing in the event are seeing better water polo. We put 2 players on the zone team, so they're getting to play with other zone team members and be a part of the event that way. We have a high school team that's in it. I've got kids driving from as far as 2.5 hours away in order to be a part of the event, both as a player or to volunteer and help. Kind of reconnecting and keeping us connected with other people in the community and sort of build our water polo umbrella. And I think that's a really great thing about an event like this.
I've done ODP for 3 years now, and it's just a really fun experience getting to know new teammates and then coming back to play with the teammates that I've already met. We've already done some team bonding stuff, going to the mall and eating dinner together and hanging out with each other.
There's a very high ceiling for water polo, and then you can pick it up very quickly. It's not something that'll take a lot of time for someone to get into, and I think it's a lot of fun. It's like a combination of soccer and basketball in the water is what I tell people. And I don't know, most people seem to enjoy basketball and soccer, so why not give water polo a shot?
Now let's go out to Kearns, Utah, the Kearns Ocher Park Fitness Center. More than 400 athletes taking part in the first edition of the ODP West Regional event. Some great photos here via John Diaz of all the action going on. And despite some snow, some cold weather outside, everyone enjoying themselves indoors, looking forward to both the East and West regional events next year. You might be asking yourself, water polo in Greensboro, water polo in Kearns, why these locations? Well, part of it is sport growth. And speaking of sport growth, huge announcements this week in the growth of our favorite sport, water polo. The first, right here on the East Coast, Mount St. Mary's in Emmitsburg, Maryland. They're adding men's and women's water polo at the Division I varsity college level. They'll start play in the fall of 2020 for the men, spring of 2021 for the women. So that's coming up quick in Maryland. Then swing it back West Coast in Kern County, California. This is near Bakersfield, California. They've added water polo as an official CIF high school sport. Some 10 high schools ready to start play this fall. That's great news for the sport of water polo. We're excited to see the game growing on both coasts. And now we turn to our USA national teams there in Australia, Brisbane to be exact, for a 3-game exhibition series with the Australian national team. One of those matches has already taken place. Let's get you caught up on what happened in Brisbane and look ahead to the next 2 games between USA and Australia. And we start with the USA women bringing their 68-game win streak down under. Game 1, so far so good. A close affair, but they pull it out 10-9. Maddie Musselman, Maggie Steffens, Aria Fisher, all with 2 goals each as Team USA and their longtime rival Australia battled back and forth for much of the match. Team USA hanging on for the 1-goal win. Afterwards, Captain Maggie Steffens spoke about the match and being in Australia.
For us is to continue to get better and compete. Australia is easily one of the top teams in the world, and they have been historically since 2000 and even before, and so we know we're going to get a great game every time. We know we're going to have maybe 1-goal games, tied games, whatever it may be, because Australia is so strong. And that's what we want. We want to play against the best, and that's what Australia is. And so for us, that's what we want to get out of this, to play the best, and hopefully for us to get better and prepare ourselves for Tokyo, as well as, I'm sure the same is for the home team.
And out from the USA women to the men, getting their 2020 competition schedule started. Always a close match with Australia. This one no different. USA men building a 2-goal advantage at halftime, but Australia comes out with a 4-goal third quarter. That helped bring them back in this game. They end up taking it 13-12, despite 4 goals from Johnny Hooper, 3 from Ben Halleck, and 9 saves from Drew Holland. USA captain Jesse Smith spoke about the match afterwards.
Yeah, well, you can see our center started really well. He's one of the best in the world, and Ben Halleck scored 3 goals that were, one of them was amazing. The pass that came in, he flipped it in. So we really pin our offense around him, and he did a great job.
And of course, our thoughts are with all those in Australia battling the wildfires. Currently, the fires not affecting competition in Brisbane, but great news this week. Water Polo Australia, in conjunction with their partners, donating $100 for every goal scored by Team Australia to the wildfire relief. That's great stuff by Team Australia and their partners. And again, our thoughts with all those battling the fires. And now we turn to Team USA back home. Last month, the Holiday Cup in Princeton, New Jersey, and we had a little fun with the USA Women's National Team. A largely California-based team. We asked them to name some famous New Jersey celebrities. Spoiler, it didn't go well.
Okay, here's your first one.
Okay, that looks like Cameron Diaz.
Not Cameron Diaz, but she's a comedian.
She's in Charlie's Angels.
She's not a Charlie's Angels, but she's a comedian.
Chelsea.
Ham.
Mike the Situation from Jersey Shore.
Snooki.
Yeah.
Snooki.
Nailed it. Oh, that's Cameron Diaz for sure.
No, it's not. No. She's in Spider-Man.
Oh, Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah.
Cake Boss. Buddy Blastro, Cake Boss.
Now we turn to events this week back home for USA Water Polo. 3 different editions of Dare to Dream are on the way. We'll be in Irvine, California, Orinda, California, and Houston, Texas. We showed you the future of water polo here in Greensboro, North Carolina. We go even younger for Dare to Dream. The 10 and Under Festival, bringing together athletes from all over, trying the sport for the first time, getting better at the game. We'll have highlights and pictures and more from all 3 events next week right here on The Counterattack. And now we close out our show as we do every week with our social media send-off brought to you by our friends at Cobian. We're bringing to you the best of water polo on the internet. You can get involved, use the hashtag counterattack, or tag us at USAWP. We'll start first with our weekly winner of a free pair of Cobian sandals. We told you earlier about sport growth coming to Mount St. Mary's and Bakersfield, and Hewlett Love on Instagram, the winner of a brand new pair of Cobian sandals, supporting Bakersfield, a great sports town that now just added high school water polo at the CIF level. We go back to ODP. We mentioned a little chilly in Kearns, Utah, but that's why we play the games indoors from LJ Water Polo. We've heard all about the fires in Australia. As we told you earlier, competition not affected, but great things in the community going on in Australia to help support those that are fighting fires. This via Water Polo Australia. While the USA national teams are there, so is Harvard Water Polo, getting ready for their spring season with a training trip, sharing some really cool footage on their Harvard H2O Polo Twitter account. Check that out. Captains are ready to go in Brisbane ahead of the USA Australia series. A lot of promotion leading up to these rivals getting together ahead of the big 3-game series. Remember, this is all taking part during a big youth tournament in Australia as well. Former national teamer and UCLA standout Cody Hill, well, she still plays some water polo, but now she's also telling us all about her love for food. Check out her new website and Instagram account, Garnish and Gather. Give her a follow. More to come there. And last but not least, don't forget you can submit great photos to hotshots at usawaterpolo.org for consideration for our Skip Shot magazine Hotshots photo of the issue. Our latest winner, Tony, shared here by Water Polo Tiger on Twitter. So there it is, some of the best water polo on the internet this week. Thanks for all your submissions. That's going to do it for this week's episode of The Counterattack right here in Greensboro, North Carolina. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget, when you're on The Counterattack, look weak side.